In this game, we're going to be taking a look at Ezreal Rakan versus Alistar Xayah, with me playing Alistar. And I think this is an interesting lane because of the defensive capabilities of Ezreal and Rakan and the aggression that Xayah and Alistar have the option of deciding to go for in the laning phase. There's no question that Alistar and Xayah both have the option and can make the decision to play more aggressively and dictate the pace of the game, or especially in the laning phase. While Rakan and Ezreal are much more defensive. Also notice the summoners. Rakan has Exhaust and Ezreal has Teleport, and both are very defensive summoners. On the other hand, I have the standard Ignite and Xayah has Heal, and both of those are combat summoners. So we have an advantage in terms of aggression, both when it comes to the innate potential of our champions, but also our summoners, while it's the exact opposite for Ezreal and Rakan. They have great defensive capabilities, and they can survive the laning phase, but it will be hard to make any plays individually or as a bot lane without getting help from their jungler. And it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Notice that I put a ward in the river, a trinket ward, which I always do at the beginning of every game because it's such a good ward and it really gives you safety in the laning phase. Lets you know that their jungler is not trying to late invade your jungler, and more importantly, it alerts you just in case their jungler tries to go for an early gank. In the laning phase, you always want to try to go for level 2 first, but only if you can do so without losing too much health and mana. So we want to get level 2 first, but if they get level 2 first, that's something we need to respect. So it goes both ways. I'm helping Xayah by autoing the minions here. And but as we can see, looking at the minions and the way it was positioned, that we both got level 2 roughly the same time. So not really much to be done about that. Maybe I could have autoed the minions and helped Xayah a bit more, but that could also allow the enemy, or just make myself more vulnerable and let the enemy just harass me kind of freely. So it's something that you really need to evaluate yourself in each individual game, in each individual lane, if you should auto the minion or not to try to get level 2 first, or if you want to just kind of play it safe. As we can see already, Xayah and I have more control of the lane because of the, like I mentioned before, the innate potential of our champions. Xayah has Blade Caller, which is a CC, and obviously I have WQ. They don't nearly have the same damage output early game, and nor do they have the same level of CC that we have. So it's something they really need to respect. On the other hand, it's really important for us to respect their defensive capabilities and not to bait ourselves into getting, blowing our summoners or potentially dying. I mean, there you have Blade Caller, and you see that Xayah, she can really dictate the pace of the lane. And Rakan can't really do much unless both Xayah and I kind of play. If we just play without patience, then maybe he could do something. But as long as Xayah and I play smart, it's difficult for Rakan to do anything without the help, without help from their jungler. So that was kind of interesting. I went for a WQ on Rakan, and then he W'd Xayah because she leaves herself a bit vulnerable. She's more stationary because I CC Rakan, then she stands still basically and harasses him, and then that makes it easy for him to land his W, and then he has the safety of his E to go back to Ezreal. And Xayah should definitely have flashed there, in my opinion. That's why I pinged it in the chat. We had a ward there, and I even pinged the gank as it was happening, or Not as it was happening, but before it happened, a bit before, and Xayah definitely could have flashed that. I'm not sure why she didn't. Definitely a mistake by Xayah, I would say. If she flashed, it would have been 100% safe. And if Silas, or if they tried to flash on me and tried to make something happen, possibly I could have made a play and, we could have turned it around, but this is solo queue, and things like that are to be expected. You just have to make the most of it. And that's what I'm doing here. I'm trying to make a play. They see me on the scuttle, the vision they have from scuttle. Very important to take note of that. I still continue with the play. I still go into their jungle, and I wait in this bush, which I think is incredibly just so good. Silas has no clue. He was not paying attention to the map. Maybe he was typing, and he was looking at mid lane, and so he didn't pay attention at all. And I'm exploiting that gap in their, skill, basically. That lack of map awareness. I wanted Yasuo to get the kill there, and Yasuo did use his Ignite, but unfortunately, Silas survived with a sliver of health, and I had to secure the kill. But maybe I didn't need to Ignite, and that's something that you definitely want to be wary of. You don't want to Ignite or use any summoners if you don't need to. So maybe I didn't need to Ignite there, but the most important thing is, of course, that I did secure the kill, and I did not hesitate. Xayah overextended and died, which really sucks, especially when you're playing support and you're trying to carry, you're trying to make things happen, and then your ADC dies. I understand that she wants to, get CS, and she wants to not get too far behind, but on the other hand, that's not how you win games. If you see your support roaming as an ADC, in my opinion, you need to play safely, and you need to let your support do what he can to carry, because trying to win a 2v2 when you have no synergy, you don't play with each other, you don't know each other's playstyles or personalities, is just not a good way to play, in my opinion. Unless you're you really need to, unless you can somehow communicate that you're on the same page without actually typing, without actually talking to each other, through your playstyle and through your movement. Unless you're able to communicate, confidence and your playstyle in game by doing those things, then you need to just try to play smart and play safely, if that's what you need to do, and aggressively if that's what you need to do. That's part of the game too. You need to decipher the opponent's playstyle and your own teammates' playstyle. Putting a deep ward here in the enemy jungle on wolves, just to track their jungler and know when I can and can't go aggressive and which lanes to gank. Maybe I could say a bit careless here, maybe. I don't blow anything, that's good. I don't flash or anything. Not that I did have flash, but I wouldn't have flashed even if I did have flash in that situation. While Brand used his flash and Ignite. And you see, this is what happens. Because of what I did, because I'm trying to pressure, I was looking to make a play, this is what happens. Brand uses his summoners, and then Yasuo can easily take advantage of that. And that's also what it means to carry. Carrying doesn't always mean making plays, it also means putting pressure on your opponent, and forcing them to use their summoners. Summoners are so vital to winning and to carrying. If you make your opponents consistently use their summoners, then you will win more games. Notice that I WQ'd Rakan just before he went into his R animation. And when he went into his R animation, he was knocked up. Which, and his R gives him movement speed, but because I knocked him up at the exact, and I timed it perfectly, and he also mistimed his R, it made it really easy to secure that kill, and I also used my Ignite simultaneously, just to make sure that we got the kill, and that he can't escape easily. And the fact that the fact that Ezreal doesn't have heal is also really good. You know, that's again something that we can exploit. They don't have combat summoners, and because Ezreal doesn't have heal, you know, it makes it easier to make those plays happen. So you really want to be wary of the summoners of your opponent in the lane you're facing, but also other lanes, but especially in the lane that you're in, and the lane opponents or the lane opponent you're facing. Summoners are just so important to keep track of, both when it comes to simply what summoners the opponent has, but also tracking the timer. And like the Flash, like Flash has a cooldown of 5 minutes, and it's something that you might, I mean, it without question is an advantage to keep track of the Flash timer. And that's something that I always do in games. When someone flashes, if I see them flash, I will time it. And notice that the pink ward that I put early on in the game is still on Dragon, which gives us safety in terms of, you know, we know, it just gives us safety because we know that they're not on Dragon, or if they want to take Dragon, we know that they're going to go for Dragon. And just knowing that is really, it really frees up the map, because then you can do things, you know, I can, specifically if we're talking about from a support's I wanted my team to follow up here, but I wanted to play with confidence and play confidently so that my team would follow up, but they didn't, and I paid for that mistake. So that was my bad. That is kind of the mindset when you're trying to carry. You're just always trying to be proactive and make plays, but sometimes that does mean dying without getting anything in return. But luckily in this situation, we see that we actually, or my teammates actually, do pull off a really good play together, with Xayah baiting them and Fiddlesticks using his R. Notice how I waited to use my W. Notice how I space out my abilities there. I waited for Yasuo to get in range before I used my W. Yasuo can R off Alistar's W, so I waited for Yasuo to get in range before I W'd so that he could, to set up his R, just to make sure that he could easily teleport into the skirmish and secure the kill. Spacing out abilities and understanding when to use your abilities is also very important to play at a high level. And Yasuo really followed that play up very good too. And it really is so satisfying when you're playing with, when you have teammates and you're playing off each other, and it just flows and it just works. It's really so satisfying, especially with a Yasuo when you're playing Alistar.
Turret plating will soon fall.
Again, I'm trying to be proactive and roaming and sweeping just to make sure that they don't have vision in this area and they don't know what I'm doing. And again, putting a pink, as long as Dragon is up, I want to have a pink there. That is a really good ward by Brand.
Red team's turret has been destroyed.
I'm spam pinging Yasuo here just to make him, just to make sure that he knows what's up. And at least he doesn't die. I'm pinging here because I want to set up a play with Fiddlesticks. But Rakan has put a ward in our bush and he spots me, so, but Fiddlesticks, luckily he understands, he sees their, or he anticipated that, you know, they put a ward there. I play, you know, this is playing with confidence. I did not have vision in the bush, but I still went in because I have my R, I have tankiness, so I go in and, you know, lead the charge, so to speak. You know, I did not have vision in the bush there, and I still went in because I expected them to unload everything on me, and then I would just press R and, you know, WQ them, and that's exactly what happened. I forced Silas to flash, and we got Rakan. So I had to wait a bit after flashing to WQ because I was not in range to WQ Silas. So, but I still forced him to flash, and we got Rakan. So really a successful play. At this point, we can see that the red team, my team, you know, we're pulling ahead. We have good synergy, I feel, also. You know, none of us, I don't think anyone was duoed this game. And, you know, Xayah and Fiddlesticks had a really good play. I'm making good plays with the Yasuo, and Camille seems to be pulling her weight top lane. So, a good team, and I would also say that I'm making some really good plays, some smart rotations, and, you know, making some sweeping at the right time too. So, I can see him, I can see the outline of Renekton here without walking bush. You see me putting the wards down, and that is not random. I'm putting 3 wards down, or as many wards as I can, before I die, just to make sure that we have vision. Because if I'm gonna die anyway, then, you know, why not? I'm pinging Fiddlesticks R here. Really good ping ward by Fiddlesticks. Perfect to R over this wall. And the enemy understands they need to be so careful when they're trying to push up and take turrets, because if Fiddle's there, he can really make them pay with his R. The pressure from Fiddlesticks' R is so, you know, it's 100% contingent on vision control. And because I am controlling vision, and he is too, you know, that's just that alone is a really powerful combination. He clears a vision, I clear a vision, and I'm putting pink wards, and it's just, it's really good. I chain my abilities there perfectly to maximize the duration of the CC. Trying to walk up to Xayah to help her, but my abilities were on cooldown, so. Giving the kill to my teammates, not trying to auto-attack or anything like that, because I know my teammates are gonna secure the kill. Unfortunate that Xayah died. I see that she actually had flash and heal. Maybe she thought that she could escape without using summoners. But maybe a miscalculation by her. But you know, these things happen. It's okay. That's something I want to touch on a bit is, you know, don't be too discouraged. Even if you see that your teammates, you know, they could have survived or whatever, like in a situation, just like, you know, it's okay. Like, these things happen. Just go with it. I did not really believe in this play. I understand what Fiddlesticks was doing, that he wanted to turn the fight, but I just didn't feel like it was that it was gonna work, so. I have my R. As long as I have my R, I have a lot of safety, so. Dodging Ezreal's R. This is definitely a play, and you know, this was a really unfortunate set of events, I would say, that kind of put the enemy team back in the game. I feel like we had a lot of control, and we were really like quite far ahead, but now it's like it's even again pretty much. And these things happen all the time in solo queue. You know, one team will have a huge or significant advantage, and then, you know, a couple of bad plays or a couple of bad decisions, and then suddenly it's 50-50 again, and you have no idea what's going to happen. So, but what I'm doing is I'm just, you know, I'm just looking to make another play. You know, it doesn't matter if we're far ahead or not far ahead. The only, like, my mindset is just I'm going to carry. I'm going to see if I can make a play. And after I make a play, I see if I can make another play. And that's the only goal I have, is to consistently make good plays and just play smart. That's the only thing I'm trying to do. I'm pinging Drake here. I want to recall and set up words for Drake because he's gonna respawn soon. But I notice I interrupt my own recall and I see, you know, maybe there's a chance here. And, you know, again, like I said, you know, these things happening solo queue. You have, you know, these big advantages, or maybe it is 50-50, and then, you know, one team makes a bad decision, a bad call, and then the other team, you know, they pull off a great engage or whatever, and then, you know, suddenly the other team is ahead, and, you know, it just shifts constantly. Who's ahead and who's behind. Waiting to recall, I wait until I get the Baron buff before I recall, because I have empowered recall with the Baron buff. And then I'm trying to get I'm building towards Aegis, and I also bought 2 pinks. I always like to have pink wards. 2 pink wards in my inventory at all times, and make the most of futures market, which I think is just a really an incredibly good mastery. I did not need to use my righteous glory, I feel, but if we look, if you notice, the Renekton does have flash, so maybe it wasn't such a bad idea. I bait Silas here to set up this for him to engage with his E, and then for Fiddlesticks to get the kill. So I just baited Silas there. Just the way I moved made it seem that, you know, no one was there, and maybe I made a pathing mistake, but in fact I was just baiting him because I knew Fiddlesticks was there. And baiting your opponents, you know, it's all about doing it the right way. Baiting is also a really, really powerful tool. When you know how to bait the enemy, then you can set up plays. Just empowering the minions. I want to... The pink ward here is meant to set up a play. To Hex Flash, or Flash over the wall. Also perfect for Fiddlesticks to use his R. But our wave is pushing too much. I mean, Xayah would need... If she moved back and she didn't push the wave, you know, we would have to let them push the wave to make that play happen, but... I go in really aggressively. Go for Brand, and yeah, just a solid game overall. A lot of back and forth between both teams, but definitely a good game overall, and I think a lot to learn.